Hello everybody, I am back from BlizzCon, and I think it's time to give my thoughts and opinions on Diablo Immortal. So, I got back on the 10th, so I had a nice 2-week-long vacation, and that was very fortuitous for me, because right after BlizzCon ended, I was kind of regretting not getting back earlier, that my flight was so late in the week when I actually got back home and everything. Because I was like, oh man, I need to jump on talking about this. I got so many opinions and stuff to share about Diablo Immortal, and everybody else is talking about it. It's time to talk about it. But it works out well for me because getting back so late means a lot of that fury and passion and anger and all that stuff has kind of calmed down quite a bit around this discussion. And now it's time to actually look and have a rational discussion. Most of you who have been on the channel and been watching my stuff for a long time know that I tend to like having more rational, level-headed discussions about things than I do impassioned discussions. Even though I'm a very passionate person, I try to talk about things reasonably. And in this case, it works out well for me because that is exactly what I want to do with Diablo Immortal. And of course, I was there at BlizzCon. I was in Hall D at the Mythic stage when they announced it. I was there for the resulting fallout afterwards, and I got to discuss and talk to many of the other people who cover Diablo, including, many of the streamers and many of the content writers, and being able to have a very interesting discussion in the 2 days there at BlizzCon has taken my opinions, my thoughts, and everything about this game and given me a very strange perspective. So I think that this discussion starts for me Thursday before BlizzCon. So I went into this weekend understanding that there was going to be a Diablo announcement of some kind. Now, we knew because of the message that came out 2 weeks prior, saying that, hey, what we know you guys want, which is whatever the big installment is for the next Diablo game, isn't going to be there. And that was nice. That was nice to kind of temper some expectations. I knew we weren't going to get something crazy for Diablo 4, for instance, but we knew there was going to be something cool and something interesting announced because they had the Diablo What's Next panel right after the opening ceremony. There was a lot of hype around this stuff because there was the Diablo figurine and the BlizzCon box and stuff like that. So it's what is it going to be? Could it be a remaster? Ooh, that would be really exciting. So we were really hyped for something cool. And there was always, now that I think back in it, there was always this little thing in my head saying, I just hope it isn't a mobile game. And in hindsight, it's kind of funny to look back at that, but it is also rather sad because that was my least wanted thing. I talked to Bloodshed, who is a Diablo streamer there, and one of the things he said actually stood out to me. He said, it's kind of like you had an option, you were entering a lottery and you had the option of winning $1,000. But you could also win the minimum of $100, and you won the minimum of $100. It's cool, I got him $100, but I could have gotten $1,000. That's kind of the best way to put this, is the mobile game announcement was on the last thing of my list that I wanted, and that is exactly what we got. So on Friday, during the opening ceremony, there was a lot of buzz. There were all these cool announcements. We got Warcraft 3 Reforged, which, by the way, I am freaking excited about. You have no idea. That will be a whole other thing for another video. But we're working through these announcements, and I turned to the people who were with me, and I said, ooh, it feels like there's something big coming. And they were leading up to it, and it did feel like something big was about to happen going into the Diablo announcement, which we pretty much knew was going to be at the end of the opening ceremony anyway. So it was slowly trickling to that, and the hype was palpable in the room. And then Wyatt came out, and everything fell apart. I got so deflated when he announced a mobile game, to the point where I was in denial. I was literally sitting there in my seat thinking, surely there's another announcement after this. They're not going to end on this. This is a bad thing. Why would they end on this? There's got to be something else. And I kept telling myself that over and over and over. And then the opening ceremony ended, and I went, oh God, I can't believe they just did that. And at this point, I was so just sad and disappointed that I actually turned to my girlfriend and I was like, I don't want to go to the What's Next panel. I don't want to see what's happening in this because I'm not interested anymore. And that just took the wind right out of my sails, I'll tell you what. But I was morbidly curious what was going to happen at the What's Next panel, so I decided to go to it anyways. And all of those people I came with, all 6 of us, were going to go to this panel. But by the end of the panel, I was the only one there. Everybody had left. In fact, that whole hall basically cleared out. There was not a lot of people in it by the time that panel ended, which was really sad and disappointing to see. Now, I have a unique experience that then happened. So my plan all along was to, right after this panel, go and talk to Brandy, which is the Diablo community manager, and introduce myself. And her and I have interacted before, and it's just like, you know, I finally want to meet her in person. So that was my goal after the What's Next panel anyways. But now I was kind of like, okay, well, I want to ask her what just happened. Like, I want to get some answers. So afterwards, we walked over to where she was. She was fielding the questions for that Q&A during that panel. And my unique experience is that I sat there and watched 2 nerds just absolutely hound her and just talk down to her and just completely disrespect her as a person, asking, you know, how could you do this? You're not listening to the Diablo community. You guys don't know what you're doing. Or, you know, this is a slap in the face and stuff like this. And they were just giving their emotion. They were just saying how they were feeling, but they were doing it in a way that wasn't respectful of the human being they were talking to. And I had to sit there literally for 5 or 10 minutes watching this. I wasn't going to interrupt. I was being patient. I had introduced myself, but I was like, okay, you guys go ahead and talk. I'm going to sit over here. And I just sat there and watched. And I had a moment while listening to them where I had to check my own heart. And I thought to myself, like, wait, why am I disappointed? I'm disappointed because I didn't get a Diablo 4 announcement, which I knew we weren't going to get anyways. And I have, thoughts on that in a moment. There are obviously a lot of news things that happened between BlizzCon and now that I'm going to talk about. But I had to be like, well, why am I disappointed? Am I disappointed because this is the last thing on my list that I wanted? Yes. But I should reserve my judgment until I go and play it because it's literally right there. Like I could see the demo stations and I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to wait to get any more upset until I actually go play this stupid thing, and then I'll make my judgment from there. By that time, I had thought about all that. The 2 people who were hounding her had gone away, and I got to sit there and chat with her. And I told her straight up, I was like, look, I know you're going to have a really rough day, a rough weekend, because by then I was already on Twitter. I was looking at all the comments that Diablo fans was getting, and it was bad. It was really bad. And I told her, I was like, I understand you're about to be very, very busy. And she said something that surprised me. She said, yes, this is an absolute shit show. And I didn't expect that. But at the same time, it gave me the impression that they knew that the announcement wasn't going to go over well, but they didn't know it was going to go over as bad as it did. And, looking back on some of the stuff that they've talked about since, that is the case. They knew it was going to be bad. They didn't know it was going to be that bad. So I sat there and had just an honest conversation with her. It was like, look, I'm sorry that, that you're having to go through all of this. Like, I understand it, but I'm going to go play the game and I'll let you know afterwards. So that is what we did. And real quick, before I move on, just to give some perspective on this, there's been a lot of pictures that were coming out from the line at the demo area, or lack thereof, but those are really misleading pictures because there were 2 lines. There was a line for solo play and a line for group play. The line for group play, they overestimated how many people are going to be playing in group, so that line, the queue for it was overextended. They didn't need it as long as it was for that area. So there was too much space allotted for the group play. There wasn't enough allotted for the single person play. So the people who were coming in solo without a friend to play with, there was a line there. The people who were coming in as a group, you almost got in instantly. So we had joined the line with our 3 people that decided they wanted to play it. So there were 3 of us, and we got to go play together. Now, every ounce of my being wanted to hate this game, and I went in just kind of angry, and I saw the 3 characters. There was like a monk, a barbarian, and a wizard, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'm going to play the monk because that's my jam out of these 3. So I get in and I start playing, and I'm like, this is stupid. I hate this, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? By the end of that demo, I really enjoyed myself. And I can get a lot of hate for saying that, but I'm going to stand by that because that game is really good and it plays like Diablo. It's really quick and it's a lot of fun. The interesting thing is, for me, the game felt like I was playing on my computer, and in some cases I felt like I was playing faster than I could on my computer. And let me defend myself on this one real quick. I am a high Greater Rift pusher. I play every freaking season. I'm typically on the leaderboard, depending on what class I'm playing that season or how much I end up playing for individual seasons. I play a lot of Diablo. You guys know this. This is not this is not something I need to defend myself on. But when I say I felt like I could play faster on the phone than I could on my computer, it is simply because with a keyboard and mouse, you obviously have to move the mouse across your screen. So imagine you're playing a monk and you got dashing strike and your mouse is in the bottom left corner, but you want to dashing strike to the upper right corner. Well, you have to move your mouse and, you know, move it and then dashing strike, and it's going to go to wherever your cursor is. That happens very quickly. But the thing is, on the phone, the way it works is you just swipe real quick. Like literally a micro fraction of a second. That's all you need in order to dash a certain direction. So I felt like playing the monk on the phone with Diablo Immortal, there were some things that I was able to do way faster than I could on my computer, like dashing in certain directions. And it made the game feel really tight, and it felt like Diablo. It felt like I was playing Diablo on my computer, except it was on my phone. It played really well. The frame rate was really good. It was way better than I was expecting it to be. And the game itself looked really nice. The models for the characters are actually really high res, and everything that's going on screen looked like Diablo 3, but just like strangely higher polygon, I should say, is a better way to put it, where things looked like, you know, certain monsters and stuff had a lot more detail than they do on the PC version, which is a little surprising and a little weird to say the least, but the game played well. On top of that, the game has this really interesting drop in and out multiplayer that is seamless. So you finish the little tutorial area, you know, you talk to Deckard Cain, you kill like these people, then you go out into basically what are like the Fields of Misery, and you're running around, you know, killing some monsters, and then suddenly you see another player and you're like, what the heck? Like, when did you join? And you realize, oh, it's the person literally standing next to me. The game somehow has this way of figuring out like locally who's nearby, and they throw those characters in with you. So like, you know, the people sitting next to me were way closer than the people on the other side of the demo area. And because we were kind of going through the demo at the same time, they were getting put into the same instance as we were. And you can have up to 6 people in one of those open zones all playing together, and it's really freaking fun. And it's interesting because it works just like it does in Diablo 3. You know, loot is not shared between the characters. When you open a chest, you're going to have your own unique loot, and they're going to have their own unique loot. So it plays like you're playing in Diablo 3, like public games, for instance. Except there's really no way to chat with each other other than to talk to each other if you can, you know, see the other person. Outside of that, you go through this whole like open area, you're working through, monsters respawn. Think of it kind of like an MMO zone is what it felt like. And then eventually you get to, you know, a dungeon, and in this demo you go and queue, and it's a 4-player dungeon that you go through. So you can like go solo, or you can select to go as a party, which we selected to go as a party, and then everybody nearby in our little group, which there were 3 of us, so it grabbed another random person in from the demo area. It grabbed us all in, and we went and did this dungeon, and then we finished. You know, there was a cool boss at the end. The boss fight was a lot more surprising than I thought it would be. There was a lot of mechanics. It kind of felt like a dungeon boss out of WoW, and it was really fun. And I left that demo area going, damn it, because I wanted to hate that thing so bad. And yet I played it and I was like, that was a lot of fun. I want to go play that again. Unfortunately, a lot of that was because the monk was really good. The monk was a lot of fun to play. The abilities they gave you, because you couldn't choose your abilities in the demo, nor could you view your inventory or your skills or anything like that. So a lot of it was, it's early development, but a lot of it was predetermined for you in that moment. And because of that, the kit that they had for the monk felt great. You had essentially Cyclone Strike. You can suck people in. You had your Dashing Strike. You had your Fists of Thunder, so you could kind of like just spam punch things if you wanted to. You had 7-sided strike, and you had this other ability that if you tapped on the screen and held, it would like charge up this beam, and then at the very end of it, like the beam would slowly get longer, and at the end of it was like the circle. And if you could get that max and then hit on the circle, it would do a ton of damage. So the goal that I ended up coming up with, and the gameplay I came up with, was I would dash in, I would cyclone strike, get everything together, I would 7-sided strike, I would dash back out, I would use that cool like circle charge up ability, which is new. I would hit all the enemies with it. If they still didn't die, I would dash back in, punch, I would dash back out, and do it again. And it was just like this really fun gameplay loop that I enjoyed the hell out of and was a lot of fun. When I played the Barb, it was also a lot of fun, but it was slower. It wasn't quite as fast as I wanted it to be, and hitting the whirlwind button didn't really feel very fun. You hit it, and then you just sat there and you whirlwinded until the cast time was done, and then that was that. And then playing the Wizard, that was a whole different story. The Wizard did not feel good at all. It was really slow and methodical, and there was some cool gameplay there with the like lightning orbs that you could shoot out and bring back in towards your character, but it just didn't feel good to play compared to the Monk. The Monk was by far the character to play in the demo. But my big takeaways from the gameplay is that it plays really well. It plays like Diablo. It's really fast for playing on the phone. I was very surprised by the control scheme. They did a really good job of setting it up. And on top of that, it was surprisingly good looking. The game played really smooth. The animations were sexy. I really liked a lot of the animations that were going on, especially with the Monk and the Barb. And then on top of that, the polygons on the characters felt way higher than they did in, say, Diablo 3. So it had like this weird sharpness to it. It looked really good on the phone. And I sat there and I talked with other people who played it, and we all kind of came to the same conclusion of, that was really good. I'm going to hold judgment until it comes out now, and we'll see what kind of business model they come out with. Hopefully it's not bad. We'll see. There's a lot of concerns there that I'm not going to get into with the company who makes this game, which is a Chinese developer. They make other mobile games, and they made an ARPG that is vastly similar to what is actually on screen for Diablo Immortal. And obviously there's concerns about that stuff. But outside of any of that, the game plays really good. It is really fun, and it feels like Diablo. And that's the most important thing about this game. And that's the thing that I want to stress the most to everybody, is that you gotta play it. You have to play this thing because it's gonna freak you out. You're not ever gonna understand how Diablo could feel so good on a phone, and yet it does. And this is a really weird experience, especially for me who wanted to hate this stupid thing. So in the end, I'm actually looking forward to this game. I want it on my phone. I want to play it. I want to see what kind of content they're gonna add. I could see myself playing this in an airport. I could see myself playing this on public transport. I could see myself playing this in the bathroom. You know, there's a lot of things that I'm excited for in this game, potentially, you know, whatever they end up adding dungeon-wise and stuff. And I'm looking at this game going, it's actually not that bad. I wanted the $1,000. I got the 100, but it's still not a bad deal. It's a cool game, and I enjoy the heck out of it, and I want to play more of it. And that's probably the best thing that you can say for this thing. You need to play it. You need to get your hands on it. Hold your judgment on this game until you actually see what I mean. The unfortunate thing for me is that there at the convention, there were many of us who went through the demo area, came out and went, that was really fun, and wanted to share our thoughts for it. And the people who did on Twitter immediately got harassed by the Diablo community. They even went as far as saying that a lot of these people who were saying it was good were paid to say it, even though they totally weren't, because I know these people. And we all sat there for a good 6 or 7 hours, afraid to post things about our opinions on the game because we were being harassed for it. And that, by the way, is not okay. Period. There's no world where that's an okay thing, where we go and try this game that people are obviously upset about, and we go, actually, you know what? You need to try it. It's not bad. It's actually kind of fun, and immediately get harassed for it. Thankfully, my community that I have is not that bad, and you guys are great at understanding when I say something is good. You tend to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to try it. You know, we have a more mature community here on the channel, for the people who watch all my stuff. People who are just coming in, I understand that that is not necessarily you, but the people on my community, they have that kind of mindset that I do, where, okay, let's just try it, let's see what it's like. And when I say something is good, they tend to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to hold my own, reservations until I play it. They're reasonable. But when I put out a tweet and I say, there at the convention, I'm like, this is really good, you guys need to try it, you need to get your hands on it. Seeing is literally believing in this point. Once you actually play it, you'll understand it. And I put that up, and my community's great. They're like, that was awesome, cool. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. We'll see when it comes out. They're being really reasonable. But the moment any of these other people that I'm with and I'm talking to, like Nineball or Leviathan or Bloodshed or Riker or any of these big Diablo people who I'm like having really good discussions with there on the floor, do anything with my tweet, like it, retweet it, reply, anything. Now it's suddenly in their realm of things, and I'm getting all of this harassment. And it felt really disappointing. And I was really disappointed in the community at that point, that it felt so fragmented, that the people who were there trying to say, wait, no, actually play this game. It's not bad. You might enjoy it. Hold your reservations. We played it and we liked it. It may not be what you want, but it's what we're getting right now, and it's good. Try it. And then immediately being harassed for that felt really bad. And I'm really disappointed in the Diablo community for that. And if at any point in this video you've put a negative comment in this video, that is what I'm talking about. Why not have a reasonable expectation of this? Be like, it's a mobile game. Cool. It's literally not affecting the development of any of their other projects, because it is a completely different team working on it. That's not even in the US. It's a Chinese developer. The Blizzard devs that are working on it are more or less collaborating. They're not really, heading the studio, right? That's not their job. The Diablo team is working on a new Diablo game, a new installment into the franchise on PC, a big Diablo game, Diablo 4, whatever it may be. This mobile game is not affecting the development of that. In fact, it may help it, because it may give the development team more money to be able to do what they want in the end, right? It also may bring in new players into the Diablo franchise that may not have played it otherwise, because they played it on their phone. They go, this is cool. Oh, wait, a new one's coming out on PC. Oh, let me go investigate that. It is a good opportunity for Blizzard, and there's really no reason for them not to do it, because it is good. And just take a moment and be calm and rational about this, and understand that this mobile game is not affecting your next Diablo game. It's a separate project. They have teams working on different things. They keep saying this and people aren't listening. In fact, they've come out and said that there are multiple mobile projects in the works for all of their franchises. And that is not a bad thing either. Again, they probably have all of these other companies who work on mobile games working on these things. They're not affecting the development of other games at Blizzard, because that's not how they work. That's not how they operate. They are working on these other multiple, mobile projects because there is an audience there for that. If that is not you, that is okay. If you're not interested in a mobile game, that is okay. You have a game coming up that is for you. Relax. And in closing, I wanted to talk about something that I heard a lot at BlizzCon, which is that, man, I'm disappointed for those people who actually bought a ticket and paid to see this announcement. That's a heavy statement. So the assumption there is, what people are saying is that they're sad for the people who bought a BlizzCon ticket to go to BlizzCon just to see this announcement. The thing with that is there is a disconnect that people aren't understanding. You don't buy a BlizzCon ticket. You don't go to BlizzCon for the announcements. That's a benefit. That's an added on thing. You go to BlizzCon for the people. We took 6 of us to go to BlizzCon. 2 of those people are really close friends, and I've known for years. I've raided with one of them in WoW for like 8 or 9 years. We are close friends. I've never met them in real life because they live in Trinidad, and they show up to BlizzCon, and we meet for the first time, and they are our close friends. We're bonded. We have other people that I've raided with for years that showed up, and I got to meet them. I met someone there at the show floor. If you guys know who Hiru is, Hiruma Red, he he has a big YouTube channel for WoW stuff. Him and I initially started playing together back in Cataclysm. You know, we know each other. I got to meet him there, and I didn't even know he was there. It's just suddenly he replied to me on Twitter being like, hey, I played the Diablo demo too, and I thought it was fun. I'm like, wait, you're here? And we got to meet him. You don't go to BlizzCon for the announcements. You go to BlizzCon for the people. BlizzCon is not about the games. It's about the people around those games. I went to BlizzCon because I wanted to have fun with my friends, and that is exactly what I did. And I had a lot of fun. I am definitely going back to BlizzCon next year, and not at any point do I regret going this year. It was a lot of fun. The Diablo announcement was disappointing, but that didn't affect my enjoyment of the con itself. I thought it was great, and I'm definitely going back next year. It was awesome. You know, that's just the thing is I don't think people who have never gone to one of these really understand that you're not going for the announcements. You're going to meet these people that you are so closely connected with and that are your friends, and that you get to unite around cool things, which are the video games that you love. That is the one thing that I want to end with in this video, because the Diablo game, you know, the disappointment and stuff, it doesn't matter. It's just a mobile game. Who cares? I got to go to BlizzCon and I got to hang out with my friends for a week, and it was a lot of fun. And then I got to meet new people that I've never met before. And I got to interact with people who I am close with within the industry and never met before. And that was really fun and cool. That's the reason why I go to BlizzCon, not to get some disappointment in a mobile game. I go to have fun with people. So remember that while you're criticizing this game and saying it's bad and it's not what you want, the Diablo community is dead, Diablo is dead, and everything is bad with Diablo, that on the other end of this are real people who are working on this game, and you have to sympathize with them. Because if you were in their shoes, you would be feeling like crap right now. And there is no doubt that they do, because I have talked with some of them and they do feel like crap. They're like, this sucks. This is not what we wanted the community to react to. This is not the best situation here, obviously. So instead of hounding them and calling them trash and all of this stuff, just take a moment, realize they're people too, and have a rational discussion with them. And when the game comes out, actually play it and see for yourself. With that being said, I like the game. It's fun. I am looking forward to it. And there's a lot of other BlizzCon stuff that I have to talk about in other videos. But with that being said, we shall see you guys next time.